All right. So we're gonna work on this review really fast. Your test looks pretty much just like it. Remember that you can also use Desmos, so use it as much or as little as you need to, okay? So the very first ones I'm gonna show you by hand. I'll split back and forth and do a little bit of Desmos as well. But again, we're gonna do most of these by hand. So x minus 3, I start at -3. I asked y'all to have your notes out a long time ago. We start at -3. Our slope is 1, so we do a rise over run of 1 over 1. And these are the equal ones, so they're always lines. Okay, so equal is always a line. We're not doing any shading to the very end. The next one starts at +3. We should go up 7 and over 1, but we can't do that. So we're going to go down 7 and left 1, which will be this point right here. That point where they cross is your answer. And that coordinate is -1, -4. Okay. So on the very beginning, all you're doing is finding the point that they cross. We're not worried about shading. And again, if you put this in Desmos, just like you see it, it'll show you that. We're just looking for that coordinate. On the next one, we're going to start at -2. Sorry, we're going to start at 4. I'll do the first one. Start at 4. You can go up 7 over 3, but we don't have graph for that. So we're going to go down 7 and over 3. And then draw your line. The second equation starts at -2. And we go up 1 and over 3, or down 1 and over 3. And you see that it crosses at this coordinate, which is -3, -3. Any questions on the first two? And again, you can use Desmos, and that is fine. I'm going to show you some of those in just a minute. All right.
Attention students, they are ready for last name beginning with the letter N, as in November. All 9th through 11th graders with last name N, November. Head to the commons area.
Number 3, our first equation starts at 4. We have a slope of 2 over 1, so rise 2, run 1. But you can also go down 2 and left 1. And you get this equation, or this line. The next one starts at 1, and it is also up 2 over 1. Remember, to have an answer, they have to cross. Do these cross? Nope. So this one is no solution. This one is no solution. All right. So number 4, I would never do by graphing because it's not in y equals. Okay. Desmos will help you do it. That's fine. But if you get it on your calculator inactive part, I would not do this one by Desmos. I mean, by graphing, I would do this one by elimination, where you cross out the ones that are already there. Does that make sense? And we're going to do a few of those later. But I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to do this by hand, and realize that it's going to be a little bit longer, and I'm only going to do a couple of them, okay? And then we'll move on. All right. So what we have to do is make sure we solve for y. So remember, the first thing to solve for y is to move x. And then your second step is to divide y. The only time you have to do this is when it's in the calculator inactive part. Okay, if it's in the calculator active part, you're just typing it in. Y'all remember that, right? Okay, don't forget that. Tomorrow, your test is all calculator active. Just use it. You should get really good grades on this test, all right? So the first equation that I have is x minus 2y equals -4. I'm going to move x since it's a positive x. I'm going to subtract it. Bring down all of the negative 2y. And I have a negative x minus 4. In the next one, we're going to divide by negative 2. We divide by the number with y. And then we simplify it. So we get y equals a negative over a negative makes a positive. There's a 1 with the x, so 1/2 x. Negative 4 divided by negative 2 is positive 2. So there's your first equation to graph. We're going to start at 2 and then go up 1 and over 2. We're going to do the same thing with the second equation. We're going to move x. It's a positive 3x. I'm going to subtract 3x. I get 2y equals negative 3x minus 4. And then the last step is divide by 2. Divide everything by the 2. We get y equals, this won't reduce, so we just write it down. Negative 3/2 x. Negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. So the second equation, when we graph it, it starts at negative 2. And we go down 3 and over 2, or up 3 and over 2, and it matches that point right there. And where they cross is your solution, and that's at negative 2, 1. So a lot of work that you don't have to do tomorrow, but you would probably have to do on your final exam. Okay. Any questions? Number 4. All right, I'm gonna flip it. Everybody got it? Sorry. And I'm gonna do one more like this, and then we'll talk about the other ways that you can solve, okay? So we're gonna move x, so start with 5x minus 4y equals negative 12. We're gonna move x, so we're gonna subtract 5x. Make sure you bring down the whole negative 4y. Your x goes first, so negative 5x, and then you have a minus 12. We're going to divide by negative 4 to get rid of it. And we simplify. Negative over a negative makes a positive. 5 over 4 will not reduce. And then negative over a negative makes a positive. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So for this equation, we start at 3. And we could go up 5 and over 4, but we don't have a lot of graph. So we'll go down and to the left. Make sure that it's a positive graph. And then we'll work on the other one. So we have x plus 2y equals negative 8. Move our x, so we're going to subtract it to the other side. We bring down the 2y. The x goes in front, so negative x. And then we have a negative 8 or a minus 8. Last step is divide everything by the number with y, which is a 2. Remember that x always has a 1 with it, so this will be negative 1/2 x. And then negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. And then we graph that and find where they cross. So negative 4 is where we start. We go down 1 and over 2, or up 1 and over 2. And again, where they cross is your solution. And that coordinate is negative 4, negative 2. Any questions 1 through 5? All right. On number 6 through 10, that's the ones that were substitutions. Remember, I told you those were probably one of your harder ones because it's a lot of work. You can also do those by Desmos, but I'm going to show you by substitution. Realize that you can pick any way that I teach you. You could do these by graphing, which is what you do on Desmos. You're graphing it on Desmos. You can do these by elimination. You can do them any way that you want to, rearranging, whatever. So on this one, the reason we use substitution is because we have a y equals. So we're going to take whatever variable is equal. So this one says y equals, this one has a y equals, this one has a y equals, and y equals. And we're going to plug it into the other variable in the top because we don't want to solve for two variables. We just want to solve for one. So what you're going to do is you're going to write down your negative 4x minus 6. But when you come to that y, you're going to put a parenthesis and write down the other equation. And then finish out that equation that you started, equals 2. So we're just taking this x plus 13 and putting it in where that y is. That way, we only have x's in our equation. So you should not have an x and a y in your equation ever. Okay. We're going to distribute. So we have negative 4x. Negative 6 times x is negative 6x. And then 6 times 13 is 78. So negative 6 times 13 is a negative 78 equals 2. Now you're going to clean it up and solve. So add your like terms. We get negative 10x minus 78 equals 2. We're solving for x. 78 needs to go away. So we're going to add 78. We get negative 10x equals 80. So we're going to divide by negative 10 and get that x is negative 8. That's the first part of your coordinate, so the x coordinate. I still have to find a y. So I'm going to take the easy equation, y equals x plus 13. And I'm going to put that x in there. So negative 8 plus 13, which is 5. So your coordinate answer, x comes first, and then y. On number 7, we're going to take the y equals equation and plug it into the first one where we see y. So again, we write the first equation, 3x plus 2. But then when we get to that y, we put a parenthesis and plug in our new x's, 5x minus 5 equals 16. Distribute your 2. It's all the same steps, guys. Everything is exactly the same. We get 3x plus 2 times 5 is 10x. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10 equals 16. Again, the same steps. Add your like terms. 3 plus 10 is 13. Minus 10 equals 16. We're solving for x. What's on the same side but not with it? It's the negative 10. So we add 10. And we get 13x equals 26. We're going to divide by 13 and x equals 2. So that's just the beginning. We got to find a y. You do the same step. You take this y equals 5x minus 5. And you put that 2 in. 5 times 2 is 10. Minus 5 is 5. So our coordinate answer, x comes first, then y, is 2, 5. All right, so now I'm gonna real quickly pop on Desmos. Are you seeing my Desmos on your screen, Ms. Wasser? Or is it still my paper?
No,
No, you're not seeing it?
no.
Okay. You should see it now. Hold on, now.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna do number 8 on Desmos because I just want you to realize that you can do it in there and not have to worry about it, but I wanted to show you substitution, okay? So negative 9x plus 3y is equal to 30. And then your second equation is y equals 3x plus 10. Remember, if you can't see it, ooh, what happened? Hold on. Oh, what happened? Watch. What happened? They're all over each other, right?
They're on top.
They're on top of each other. So when they're on top of each other like that, I'm gonna stop sharing and stop back. That means every point works. That means every single point works. So this one is gonna have infinitely many or many solutions. I'm not sure how they're gonna write it if it's multiple choice. They might say many solutions, they might say infinite solutions, they might say all reals. But it's because the lines are on top of each other. And you guys saw how the Desmos, it changed it from red to blue. Okay, so be ready for that. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing on this one. I'm going to go back to Desmos so you guys can see another one. That actually has a solution. We're going to do the next one, y equals negative 6x plus 18. And then your second one is negative 3x minus 6y equals 24. You can move it around if you need to. The point where they cross is what we're looking for. So our answer is going to be 4, negative 6, and you would just have to write that down or choose the correct one. Okay, 4, negative 6. All right. Any questions on how to use Desmos? You guys okay? Remember, you can hit the home button to get you back to normal screen if you manipulate it too much. All right.
Can you what?
We can't use Desmos in your test, right?
Yeah, I said you could. I want you to use Desmos. But what's going to happen on your final exam is you're going to have to know how to do it by hand as well.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah, it's like a third of it is non-calculator and the rest of it is calculator active. So it won't be too bad. All right, so I'm going to go skip number 10 and I'm going to go to elimination. And this is the one that you guys are really good at. Remember, what we're looking for is variables that are the same. One is positive, one is negative, so that when we add them, they mark out. And then we just add them like normal. 3 plus 2 is 5y. And negative 28 minus 22 is negative 50. You guys can put that in your calculator, not a big deal. And then to get y by itself, we're going to divide by 5. And we get negative 10. Pick one of the equations. It doesn't matter which one. I'm going to pick the second one. And I'm going to plug in my negative 10 for y. Okay, negative 10 for y. So we get 2x plus 2 times negative 10 equals negative 22. 2 times negative 10 is negative 20. To solve for x, we're going to add 20. We get 2x equals negative 2. And then we divide by 2 and we get x is negative 1. So again, it's an x, y coordinate. So your X was -1, your Y that we found first was -10. Okay. Same thing on number 12. You will see a lot of these on your calculator inactive part. Okay, you'll see a lot of these. All right, it's already able to mark out 3 and -3. Remember, this is -1 plus 9 is 8y. What happens to your 9s right here? Which makes what? 0. Make sure you put the 0 there. Guys, pay attention. We're going to divide by 8 and get 0. Choose either equation. The top one looks a little less crazy. We have 3x minus y equals -9. We're going to plug that 0 in for y. Remember that the 0 doesn't matter. So we just have 3x equals -9. We divide by 3 and we get -3. Your coordinate answer is your x and then your y. When you're finished, we're going to flip it. '13, I would also do elimination because you have 8s, but the problem is they're both the same sign. So remember, we change, change, change so that your 8s cancel out. -4 plus 6 is 2x. 0 plus 20 is 20. To finish it out, we divide by 2 and we get x equals 10. Pick either equation. I like the first one since it's got a 0 in it. And I'm going to put 10 in for x. So my new equation is -4 times 10 plus 8y equals 0. -4 times 10 is -40 plus 8y equals 0.
Next group of students to head to the commons area is last name O, 9th through 11th grade. Head to the commons area, last name O for Oscar.
We're going to add 40. 0 plus 40 is 40. And then we're going to divide by 8. And we're going to get y equals 5. So our coordinate answer is 10, 5. Please make sure that you don't put it the wrong way. All right. 14 and 15, we don't have anything that looks alike. So to be able to do it by elimination, we take those front two numbers and flip them. Okay, so don't forget how to do that. Take those front two numbers and flip them. So we're going to multiply this by -6 and this one by -1. Our new equations after we distribute, -6 times -x. Negative times a negative makes a positive. 6 times x is 6x. -6 times -3 is a positive 18y. -6 times -6 is a positive 36. Same thing on the bottom. A negative times a negative makes a positive 6x. Negative times a negative makes a positive 6y. And -1 times 0 is still 0. What that does is it gets your front two numbers to be exactly the same. To get them to cancel out, change, change, change. And when we do this, it'll always be our front two that cancel out.
Attention students, please head to the commons area if your last name is P. 9th through 11th graders with last name P for Papa.
P.
The odd is it?
18 plus -6 is 12. 36 minus 0 is 36. We're going to divide by 12. And we get y equals 3. Pick either equation. I don't care which one. It doesn't matter which one. I'm going to do the top one this time. Negative x minus 3y equals negative 6. We're going to plug in the 3 for y. So negative x minus 3 times 3 equals negative 6. Multiply your terms. Negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. Get x by itself, so we're going to add 9. And we get negative x equals positive 3. Remember that if there's just a negative, that means it's actually a negative 1. So we're going to get rid of that negative 1. And we get x equals negative 3. Remember, your coordinate answer is your x and then your y. Again, if I'm doing one like 15, I'm using Desmos on it. Okay, so nothing looks alike or anything like that. Number 15, I would definitely use Desmos. All right, 16, 17, 18, 19, the next few are word problems that you have to set up. What does sum mean? Add. And then when it says something like this, two numbers, you're going to use x and y because you don't know them. So this is the sum of x and y. Add x and y, and you get 24. That's all it's saying. X and y, add them. Their difference is subtract. So now we're going to subtract them, is 4. If you set them up correctly, you absolutely can put them in Desmos. Okay, so these can go in Desmos. It would probably be faster if you didn't put it in Desmos because your y's already cancel out. X plus x is 2x. 24 plus 4 is 28. We're going to divide by 2 and get that x equals 14. Pick either equation. I'm going to pick the top because it's all positive. We have x is 14. To solve for y, you get rid of the 14. And you get 10. So your two numbers are 14 and 10. Number 17 is the same exact way. We're just going to solve it in Desmos, okay? We're just going to solve it in Desmos. What does difference mean? Subtract two numbers is 1. Subtract two numbers. We don't know what they are, so they're going to be x and y. Is 1 means equals 1. It says their sum. What does sum mean? Add. Their sum is 21. I'll give you a minute to write that down, and then I'm going to go to Desmos and show you. So stop share. Desmos. Your first equation is x minus y equals 1. Your second equation, x plus y equals 21. I can't see it, so I'm going to zoom out. That's why I wanted to show you this one on Desmos. Just because you don't see two lines doesn't mean anything. And then my coordinate is 11, 10. So what are my two numbers? 11 and 10. That's it. Okay, doesn't matter what order they're in. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing this and go back to my screen. And we're going to talk about the rest of these word problems. Elisa and Aaliyah are selling pies for a school fundraiser. Customers can buy cherry pies and lemon meringue pies. Elisa sold 12 cherry pies and 10 lemon meringue pies for a total of $274. How do I set that up? How do I write 12 cherry pies? Yep. And means just plus. How do I write 10 lemon pies? You can do P. I'm going to do L for lemon. Okay, it doesn't matter. And it's a total or equal to $2.74. Aaliyah sold 12 cherry pies and 3 lemon meringue. So 12 cherry and 3 lemon meringue for $141. Now, you guys see that your 12 C's are the same. All you would have to do is change the signs and mark out to solve. If you want to use Desmos, that's fine. Change these to X's and these to Y's. And I honestly would write this down so I can remember. So when I go back into Desmos, I'm going to do 12X plus 10Y equals 274. And I want to show you these because they're big numbers. 12X plus Y equals 141. Okay. If you guys look, it's way up here. And they cross at 719. 719. I'm going to write that down for just a second. And then check this out. I wrote it next to it. So how many cherry pies are there? They may only ask you about cherry, sorry. They may ask you only about lemon meringue. How many lemon were there? Or they may ask you about both. But read the question. What is the cost each of 1 cherry pie and 1 lemon meringue pie? A lot of times what they'll do on the final exam is say, how much does 1 cherry pie and 1 lemon pie cost? So then you would have to add those up. So watch it, okay? Just watch what they ask for. I don't think any of these ask for that, but once we get to our final exam review, that's what you'll see, okay? All right. Sarah Wong and Stephanie are selling flower bulbs for a school fundraiser. Customers can buy packages of tulip bulbs and packages of crocus bulbs. Sarah Wong sold 2 packages of tulips and 3 packages of crocus for a total of 63. Stephanie sold 12 packages of tulips and 12 packages of crocus for a total of 276. Find the cost of each of 1 package of tulips and 1 package of crocus bulbs. So start with the very first one. Sarah Wong had 2 packages of tulip. How can I write that? Now the other one's packages as well. So how could I differentiate it between? 2T because it's tulips. Okay, so 2T. I'm gonna make a big T, it doesn't matter. Plus she had 3 packages of crocus bulbs. So I'm gonna say 3C equals 63. Then Stephanie sold 12 tulips and 12 crocus for a total of 276. Everybody good? All right. So I'm going to stop sharing here. Remember, I'm going to call this X and this Y. Okay, this X and this Y. So tulips will be our X, crocus will be our Y. I'm going to share Desmos. And the first one is 2T or 2X plus 3Y equals 63. Guys, 12X plus 12Y equals 276. And we can see where it's at 617. So I wrote that down, 617. What the heck did I just do? Sorry. You are correct. Tulips will be 6 and crocus.
Yeah.
Crocus will be 17. Perfect. Perfect. Any questions on those two? All right, I'm gonna flip it. 20 is the same exact way. We don't have to worry about it. Then we get into linear inequalities, and this is our last little goal. We have single inequalities, and then we have systems of inequalities. And then we're gonna be done reviewing, and you will take your test tomorrow, okay? So 21, I'm gonna show you by hand, and then I'll show you on Desmos, okay? Show you by hand, show you on Desmos. So we're gonna start at -5. just like we did in the very beginning. We're going to go up 1 and over 2. Here's where the difference comes in. It's not always a solid line. If it is not equal to, it's dashed. So if I have a line, draw a line. So on 22, I will draw a line. On 21, I make it dashed. To figure out where you shade, you're going to plug in 0, 0, as long as it doesn't go through 0, 0. And I'll show you one that does not in just a minute so you guys can see. I'm going to rewrite my equation. I get 0 is greater than 1/2 times 0 minus 5. Half times 0 is 0, it doesn't count. Is 0 greater than -5? Yes, so I shade the side with 0, 0. That's it. So that's what you're looking for on your paper. And it's all multiple choice, so you should be okay. 22, if I graph this, remember it doesn't have anything on the end. It has a +0, so I'm going to start at 0. I'm going to go down 1 and over 2. It has a line, so I'm going to draw a line. I'm going to turn my paper for a minute. So if it has a line, draw a line. And then we need to figure out which side to shade, but this one goes through 0, 0, so you can't use it. I would pick a coordinate like 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, so I don't screw up which one's X and which one's Y. So I'm going to rewrite this equation. And I'm going to pick the coordinate 2, 2. And I'm picking 2 because I know I'm going to multiply it by 1/2, so an even number. So 2 is greater than -1/2 times 2. 2 is greater than or equal to -1/2 times 2 is -1. Is +2 greater than -1? Yes, so 2, 2 is up here. I'll shade this side. That's it. '23 is just like 21. We're going to move to 24. What's different about 24? Yeah, it doesn't have the X in it, right? It just has a number. So remember, if it's Y equals a number, it's a horizontal line. And again, you have Desmos to help you. I'm just showing you how to do it by hand. It is a solid line at 2 on the Y-axis. You're going to write down your equation, and it doesn't go through 0, 0, so I can plug that in. Is 0 less than 2? Yes, so I shade the side with 0, 0. Again, you can put it in Desmos, and it'll show you exactly what it is, okay? Any questions on those? It's okay. It's okay. All right, so if we had to work on this one, we need to get Y by itself. Remember, the first step to doing that is to move X. So it's a positive X, so I'll subtract X. And I get Y is less than -X plus 5. We will start at 5 and go down 1 over 1. It doesn't have an equal to, so it's going to be dashed. Last step, plug in 0, 0. Is 0 less than 5. So we shade the side with 0, 0. On the next part, I'm only going to do one by hand, and then I'll do the rest on Desmos, okay? Just so you can see it. Remember that they are multiple choice. You're not going to be hand graphing anything tomorrow, okay? So I'm showing you on the hand graph just in case you have a calculator inactive part like that. But then everything else on calculator active, you can just type in. All right. So again, I'm going to show you 26, and then everything else I'll do on Desmos. So the very beginning equation on 26 starts at +1. Our slope is 1/1. And it has a line, so we're drawing a line. We did not go through 0, 0, so we're going to plug that in. Our equation was y is greater than or equal to x plus 1. So we get 0 is greater than or equal to 0 plus 1. Is 0 greater than or equal to 1? No, so do not shade the side with 0, 0. When you're using Desmos, watch that solid and dashed because you're just comparing it to your answers, your multiple choice answers. And I think you guys did that on your quiz the other day, yesterday, whatever. Make sure that you watch solid versus dashed, okay? The next one starts at -3. It goes down 1 and over 3, or up 1 and over 3. It does not have a line. So it is dashed. It did not go through 0, 0, so I can plug in 0, 0. I will get 0 is greater than -1/3 times 0 minus 3. The 0 part doesn't matter. 0 is greater than -3, true or false? True, so we shade the side with 0, 0. And then remember the part where it overlaps, which is this side, is going to be your answer. Any questions? Is everybody okay? All right. I'm going to stop sharing and go to Desmos. And we're just going to look at the other ones. So we're going to start with 27. 27 is y. You got to go to your keyboard. Greater than or equal to -1/2 x minus 2. Your second equation is y is less than or equal to x plus 1. I'll drop my keyboard, go back home, and I can see that both are solid and my shade is on the right-hand side. Okay, so pick the one that looks just like that. It's gonna look just like your quiz was, okay? It's gonna look just like that. Any questions on this one? All right, I'm gonna move to 29, so I'm skipping 28 and I'm going to 29. We have 4x plus y is less than or equal to 1. And then we have x plus y is greater than or equal to -2. Drop your keyboard. And then you can see that they're both solid. They should cross at 1, -3, all the things that you should check. And then their shade is this triangle up here. Make sense? So you're literally just playing a matching game. After you put it in Desmos, it's matching.
Is the test on paper tomorrow, same thing as Tierney's done?
I do have paper for in class.
Okay, like, for the ones in class,
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's just gonna give that little shaded area.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Same thing, even the ones, I mean, the one, they're gonna have it on
Okay.
whatever they print or whatever.
So it's just
It's,
showing where it's
yep,
from.
it'll only show that triangle. It won't show any other shade. Just like your quiz was on Tuesday. All right. I'm gonna do one more. I'm gonna do number 30 and then we'll stop. After we stop, if you have any makeup work, you need to turn that in. Also, there's a review Dropbox, guys. If you're on Zoom or you're sitting in this class, there's no reason that you shouldn't turn that in, okay? So make sure you upload that and turn it in. X minus 2y less than or equal to -6. The other one is 2x plus y greater than -2. You can see that this one is dashed, so make sure you're only going to see this top shade like Ms. Walter was talking about. This one in the middle that's a little bit darker. Just make sure the graph going this way diagonally, down diagonally is dashed. The positive one is solid. That's what you're looking for. Is everybody good? All right. So I'm going to stop sharing for a minute. I'm going to stop recording.